Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. We are getting a lot of signs that the Bitcoin ETF is going to be approved. And so earlier this morning, we had liquidations over $1 billion of Bitcoin futures. Open interest was wiped out in one candle. And so we saw a quick wick down. Now a lot of altcoins fell 30 to 40%. However, those are very good buying opportunities in my opinion. So we're going to be going through many of the upcoming catalysts, news on the Bitcoin ETF, that I do not think people are talking about. And so let's go ahead and take a look at why Bitcoin dropped this morning. The Bitcoin futures funding rate raised to almost 7 basis points on Monday after many long positions were placed in anticipation of the ETF being approved on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, this is 7 times the normal funding rate. Due to the increased interest, this has caused a sudden fall in Bitcoin as many positions were liquidated. And so we can see down here that the funding rate for Binance was 0.0657%. Now the normal funding rate is 0.01%. And so this is what happens when a lot of people go long, the funding rate increases. And so that's something definitely to keep an eye on. And then when people do start getting liquidated, Bitcoin starts dropping, and then it starts liquidating a lot of those positions, and then we'll see a drastic fall on Bitcoin. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the current long and short ratio on multiple exchanges. We can see right now in Bitcoin, 51% of people are long. However, we're starting to see more people go long on leverage for Bitcoin. We can see on BingX here we're up 57% of long positions. On Bitfinex, we have long positions at 63%. And so we're starting to see these increase again after the liquidations. And so people are continuing to be bullish on cryptocurrencies. We're expecting the Bitcoin ETF to be approved possibly by Friday of this week. Now today we also had the SEC meet with stock exchange officials ahead of the potential spot Bitcoin ETF approval. Now, personally, I think this is something that they would not be doing if this was not going to happen. The SEC is meeting with the officials of major exchanges, the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, the Chicago Board of Options Exchange. And so the SEC is asking exchanges to revise and finalize the 19B4 filings that they have submitted earlier this past summer. And so they have not been interested in these until now. Now they got the final S1s from a lot of the applications. Now they're reaching out to the exchanges asking for their final 19B4 filings. And so I think this is very bullish. This is a very good indicator that these will be approved. And so we can see as well, while the final decision has not been made, sources close to the proceedings say that the SEC could be notifying issuers of approval on Friday, with trading beginning as early as next week. And so all eyes are currently on Friday here. This is the new update. Now, obviously, there's no guarantee it's going to be approved by Friday. However, they have to make a decision by January 10th, next week, Wednesday. And so keep that in mind. And so I personally do not think that the SEC would be meeting with exchanges if they were not planning on approving the Bitcoin ETF. Now, this is one of the last things before approval. They're asking them to update the 19B4 filings after they have received the updated S1s last week, Friday. And so some other news that we have also received here is that Goldman Sachs is eyeing the Bitcoin ETF. They want to be an authorized participant for BlackRock and Grayscale. We have received news last week that JP Morgan is an authorized participant for the ETF as well. And so we're seeing a lot of these large banking institutions wanting to be involved in the Bitcoin ETF. And so they're going to be the middleman. BlackRock is going to be the person creating the ETF, and then Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan will be buying those from the providers, and then they will be selling them to retail. And so these are the middlemen. There's going to be many different authorized participants. This is just the start of names of people that are going to be involved. So we also have this on Twitter here as well from Chad. If you have not followed him, definitely make sure to follow him on Twitter. I think he does a very good job providing a lot of updated information. And so we can see here that the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust was denied on October 13th. They went ahead and sued the SEC. Now the SEC will not appeal a recent court ruling that was found it was wrong to reject an application from Grayscale Investments to create a spot Bitcoin ETF traded fund. And so this could go with the same filing here as well for the ARC21 shares. They do not want to go ahead and deny that since they will probably get sued by the SEC. And so they already lost one case. Now if they go ahead and get sued by ARC21 shares, I would assume they're going to lose that case as well. and so they do not see any reason to deny this. However, if they do deny it, the next deadline for the ETF is going to be the iShares Bitcoin Trust, and that is due on 3/15. And so some other news that we have also received here is that Fidelity and Bitwise have filed in Form AA. Now this is not the official form. They need these to be done before launch, but they do not need these to be approved for anything yet. Now the form that we're going to be looking for is the Form 19B-4A. This is the final approval on the Bitcoin ETF, and so once we see these filed, that is the final stamp of approval. And so this is what we're going to be looking for to know if the Bitcoin ETF has been approved, whether that happens on Friday or early next week. So again, there was a lot of opportunities this morning to buy cryptocurrency on the dip here. I would expect for Bitcoin to continue to go up here in anticipation of the ETF. Now, yes, we did see a big drop because there was a lot of people going long on leverage, and so those long positions were liquidated. However, I would expect this to crawl back up. We're going to see a lot of people going long on Bitcoin again in anticipation of approval of the Bitcoin ETF, just because that is coming up. We only have about a week left before they have to make a decision. And so in addition to that, there were a lot of altcoins that fell substantially. Now I did make a video this morning on that mentioned a lot of different altcoins to buy. These were a good buying opportunity for your long-term investments. And so to make sure to check out that video here on the end screen, and I hope to see you in the next video.